Yeah, well, I know
Um,
that most. I don't know if I mean, you can answer this, but I know that most have stopped taking new people. So, does RSPB accept new photographers now? Or
um, it's not a blanket no, but it forever, as in it's not a no forever. But we haven't actively tried to take on any new photographers for a couple of years now, and anyone who's kind of looked at us and sort of sent over some work to us, even if the work has been of good quality, has really been met with a no. And that was a decision that I had to take based on the fact that I thought we needed to look after the photographers we've got currently on the library, and make sure that they're being, their incomes are being looked after as best as possible. The more photographers you take on, the more diluted maybe the sales become, and to the point where
yeah,
we don't want sales becoming so small that sort of so spread across a large number of photographers that everybody's kind of getting fed up of it.
yeah. Well, I mean, this kind of leads me on to my next question as well. But in a way, if someone's approaching you, they've got to have something maybe that you haven't got, or there's got to be something about them because um, you don't need the 10,000th picture of a badger. And I know you've got a slightly different opinion on this, but this is where I come on to: do you need, do specialist photos work versus generalist? So, for example, my work's quite specialist. I mean, I am a general photographer, but mostly do fish and whatever. But
Mhm.
I'm well aware that no one's going to have a fish calendar except me, maybe, or those sort of things aren't going to work. Whereas the cute and fluffy are going to get more sales. So what?
RSPB don't have a fish calendar yet.
No, and that's where you're failing. It's where you're failing, Ben. So yeah. So is it better to have specialist photos or more generalist stuff?
It's a tricky one. So um, clearly, the RSPB Images Library was. I mean, if you want to talk about the history, we can do later on. But the RSPB Images Library was set up predominantly with bird photographs as its sort of kind of niche, I suppose, and it was almost got a reputation for being a library that you as the go-to library if you wanted a British bird image, a bird on stick type picture.
Yeah,
And we were sort of known for doing that, and so at one point the RSPB Images Library was in no way specialist and didn't want specialisms. We weren't even taking on images unless it was a British bird. But I would say it has almost done a complete 360 over the last few years. Not that we don't still want British birds, but yeah, I think there is a need now to, if you're going to approach a stock library, offer something different to what they've already got. So part of it is on you as the photographer to look at what they've already got and work out whether you can offer something different. Because if you're not, you're almost wasting someone's time. If you submit your 10 to 15 photos as your and they're all puffins, or they're all goldfinches on teasel or something like that, then they might be the really lovely pictures, but they're not offering anything the library doesn't currently hold. And is there any good reason to then add more of the same? Probably not. So I think a lot of these stock libraries now are saying, you know, submit something different, whether that be a species, like you maybe you did, we sort of looked at it and said we are really lacking in underwater photography, or native fish images.
yeah, that's definitely how I snuck onto RSPB. It wasn't, and I'm quite happy to admit, it wasn't my bird photography, although I do sneak birds onto it. But it was the fish that got me. I think it was your predecessor, Michael. I can't
Yeah,
remember his last name,
yeah,
but
Michael Seabour, yeah.
that's the one. So yeah, that's what got me, got my foot in the door.
And that's absolutely fine, isn't it? Because you've um, whether you consciously did it or not, you noticed there was a gap, and you made sure that your specialism was made apparent, and that's good because we're an all nature organisation, the RSPB. We might have bird in our name. Most of our work might be based around conservation of birds, but it doesn't mean we don't talk about habitats and wider habitats and the species that encompass them. And fish are important parts of the ecosystem. birds eat them. So that's that. That we talk about fish because we sometimes talk about the birds that eat them, but we also talk about fish because they often, they exist in the habitats that we talk about, and they exist on our nature reserves. So why wouldn't we want pictures of fish as well on the library? And we need to serve clients and customers that may be producing natural history books, and that might encompass all species. So exactly, we needed to kind of take on more and more photographers who are willing to sort of submit a variety of species pictures. But it's not just species as well. Is that photographers can take photos of species we've already got, but they can offer them up in a different way. So it's styles as well. You might be a photographer and you say, well, I can offer you something in terms of style. I can offer you a style that you maybe haven't got much of. So again, a photographer that uses different techniques to get their photos, those photos then might be completely worthwhile to the library.